So on Thursday, we are having our Chapter 1, whole test. We're finally wrapping up so we can move forward in geometry. And believe it or not, we are going to have to pick up the pace a little bit.
And Ch.1 is on her way.
Thank you. Okay. So just like before where we had a practice and then you had the real thing, we're going through a practice test right now. Okay. Your test on Thursday is going to be very similar, not the same. It may even use the same images, but you're going to be asked for different things. So you got to make sure that you understand what we're asking for. Okay? The very first question. Okay, and you probably want to take some notes, either that or if you want to watch the videos as they get uploaded. I'm hearing someone try to watch videos yesterday and they were having trouble. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into what happened with that. But I would take as many notes as you can right now because that you can count on. Okay? So here we have this particular figure. And what I see on this is page 83 in your textbook. It's a practice test for Chapter 1. We want to name different things as part of this image. I see a plane. I see lines. I see various points along these different lines. Okay? And the first question asks us to name the line that contains point Q and Z. What do I need when naming a line?
Would it be line B?
I could say line B. And line B is the name. It's a lowercase letter. But I can say line B. Is that the only way to name that line?
No. Could you say line YQZ?
Could I say YQZ? No.
Why?
Because if I name them according to the points, I use only 2.
Oh, can you do point
Line
Y?
I could say line ZY, yes. Or YZ, yes. QZ, yes.
QB.
ZQ, yes.
QB.
Q what?
B.
No, because B
No,
is the
because B is not a
part.
point. B is a name with just a lowercase letter. Yeah, and I don't even know if that's like 100% correct in describing it that way, but that's what my brain thinks of it is. This is the name. This is really like a descriptor because I don't remember his name.
Okay, like I get confused because when you name an angle, it's like 3 points. But
Yeah,
with
but
a line,
an
it's like-
angle, I have to describe a point here, a point here, a point here.
Yeah.
But a line, all I need is 2. The third isn't even necessary. I don't want to include it because I don't want to confuse it with the plane where a plane needs 3 coplanar points in order to describe the plane. It's an important distinction. Okay? How about 2 points that are coplanar with W, X, and Y? Well, I have to find W, X, Y. What are 2 points that are coplanar with that?
Wait. W, X, and Y.
Yes. So I'm naming points, and they have to be in the same plane as W, X, Y.
Is it? What?
Point Z.
Point Z, yes. Point
Oh,
Z is one of
they
them.
make the X, right?
No. Coplanar. You want to name 2 points that are on the same plane as points
So
W.
point
Y.
Z is one.
Yes.
That's this one right here.
Can we use this on the test?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's one to remember.
Thank you, Miss Lisa.
I told you it was coming. It was just, it was a long time coming. I finally got home yesterday. I went, oh, I need to go grab that from the other room. And here's what it's going to look like in the end. Here's what you're going to be able to use on your test at the end.
That big peak, that all that? That
Do you understand why we don't ask you to fit all this in your brain?
It's a lot.
you probably could be forgetting. I don't forget how to do
We're,
that.
we're having a hard enough time learning how to use it when it's on paper. Okay? So be patient. Don't be afraid to look something up. This is everything that you need to know for chapter 1.
Thank you.
Okay? What's the other point? There's one other point that's in the same plane. Come on, come on. W, X, Y, Z. What else is in that plane?
Q.
Q.
Woohoo!
Point Q.
No, it's so
How about point R?
No,
No, that's
because
not
it's
even-
Not coplanar. S, not coplanar. Is there a point P?
No, there's a
No,
lot.
No.
There's
P
It's the plane.
is capital.
It's the
Names.
of the plane.
The plane. Just like this lowercase names the line. And every time that we're using points, we're using the names of points to help describe lines or describe planes. What is the intersection of lines A and B?
A and B.
Yeah, there's a line A and there's a line B.
Q.
Yeah, Q.
So here's line B, there's line A. Q is where those two cross. Any trouble with that? You just have to be careful. Be careful that points always have capitals. Okay? If I'm talking lines, it's either 2 capitals for points or a lowercase letter. Planes, 3 points, which are all capitals, or I can have a capital name that's just 1 letter. But they usually try to put those a little bit different. They try to use a different font for those. That's more of a script. Okay? Let's look at the next section.
How long can
Are the
the iPod
questions
record
like-
for?
How long what?
How long can it record for?
A long time. I don't know.
Really? On my phone, it will stop at 2 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, if you leave it, it'll just stop.
Okay, well, that's not important to the discussion right now. We need to get through this. Otherwise, you're just on your own. Might be important. Okay? Find the value of the variable if P, so we're trying to figure out what X or Y or Z is, if point P is between J and K. So we have a line here. Let's put it up here. We know that there's n points. This is K, this is J, and somewhere in between we have a point P.
Search for double King.
Is P in the middle?
No.
It doesn't say that.
It doesn't say that. We cannot assume that. All we know is it's between. But I do know, because that's between, that I can say that JP plus PK equals JK, right? Because this chunk plus this chunk,
Equals
if I put them together, equals the whole thing. So we're going to use that for each of these. Okay? 2x plus 7x equals 27. Can I solve that?
Yes, you can.
2x plus 9x is?
7. Use 7.
It equals
2
9x.
plus 7,
Oh, 9x.
9x.
You
9x.
It's okay, Mrs.
9x equals 27, x equals,
3.
3.
okay? How about this next one?
3y plus
3y
1
plus 1,
plus 12y equals 75. Oh, minus 4.
equals 75.
Combine your electrons.
Combine 3 plus 12,
15y plus negative 3.
That's 11.
No.
Okay, plus negative 3
Yeah.
or minus 3 equals 75. 15y equals 78. We're following?
Yeah.
What happened to the 4?
1 plus negative
Oh, yeah, that
4
one. Oh.
is negative 3. Now we add 3, we get 78. And unfortunately, this is a case of, didn't really work out nice.
But you'd accept a decimal, right?
Yes, oh, definitely. You leave it like that, you're good. You give me a
Perfecto.
decimal, that's correct, you're good,
5.2.
okay? Okay, last one.
8z minus 17
8z minus 17 plus
5z plus
37.
equals, woo,
17z
17z minus 4.
Big problem.
that is
Yeah, it's
a
fine.
nasty one.
It seems like it, but you're like, okay, let's break it up. Where do I have more z's? This side or this side? It looks like this side. Like I have 17, 8 and 5 is only 13. So I go like, hey, 17, subtract 5z, subtract 8z. I'm left with 4z on this side.
You can do that?
Yeah.
I mean, I would've- okay.
I
Well,
would've-
what would you
yeah.
have done?
To make it easier for myself,
Uh-huh.
I would have combined like terms on one side.
No, that's what we're doing. Okay, so here's what I think this is what Ella's saying. She says, hey, let me put all of this together on that side, and then I'm gonna say on this side. Would that sound about right?
Mm-hmm.
No?
No,
Still
I
about
would
the
have
same?
done, yeah, okay, so I would have done 8 plus 5.
Okay. So you're saying 8 plus 5,
You gotta get my 13z, then I would have done negative 17 plus 3. Well,
plus 37.
right, 37, my bad.
Okay, negative 17 plus 37 is 20.
Yep.
And so she would have done this step first.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh, I would have
Then
done
I
that
would've-
too.
Then I
Okay,
would have
that's good.
subtracted 13z from both sides.
uh-huh.
Right.
Add a
then-
4 to both sides.
Yeah. That's, yeah. And then I would have divided by 4. Yeah.
Your way's easier though. I didn't
Honestly,
even know you could do that.
pick a way. As long as we're trying to follow the same rules as far as adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing in order to simplify. This one's correct, this one's correct. All it is trying to simplify this one right here. But we have to do so carefully to make sure that we do things in the right way, that we didn't divide where we needed to subtract. You know, or add when we needed to multiply. Like, that's where we need to be careful. I think doing this part where we try to simplify, we're usually okay, unless, you know, we skip things like we did, you know, mentally, we're like, okay, Sophia's like, well, you know, plus 12y equals, and she skipped over at first.
I didn't see it.
It's okay. The point is to double check, and like some of these things where I end up with an answer like this, I'd be like, ooh, I'm not sure if this is working out right. I'd be going back and I'd be double checking just to be sure. Were my starting numbers correct? Did I miss something? It's okay, we can have this. But sometimes for math classes, that kind of signifies maybe I'm not doing the right thing. I'm not sure. So I just want to make sure that I have the right numbers. Okay? So we've got 4, 5, and 6 all done. Doesn't seem too hard at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Let's look at 7, 8, 9. This is making use of finding a midpoint. Now this seems way easier because you're not given a midpoint and an endpoint. Like we've been doing problems where we said, hey, we have this number and we have this number and we wanted to know something over here. And so we're using a midpoint formula where the midpoint formula is x, y equals x2, x1 over 2, y2 plus y1 over 2. Look familiar? And you had to find this, and so you had to plug in numbers here, and one of this, one of the x's or one of the y's over here.
So,
And that got confusing for some of you. This just says, hey, you're finding this. So these numbers go on the right-hand side.
Wait, say that one?
These numbers, so this is my x1, whoa, that's bad, x1, y1, x2, y2. Because every single point is going to be a pair of x and y.
So you just plug those numbers in over there
Yeah,
and do that.
that's the way it's always been. The problem is some people mistakenly somewhere in their homework and on tests start going x, x, y, y.
Yes, I think that's
Can't
right.
do that. Can't. Every point is always going to be how many x, how many y. How many x, how many y. That's how we locate them on the coordinate plane is x then y. 2 dimensions. So this first one is point 1, x1, y1. Second one, x2, y2.
so 16 plus 28.
Yes, so my midpoint here is going to be 16 plus 28 over 2 and 5 and negative 13 over 2. Now, does it matter if we switch? Not in this formula, because we're adding. 16 plus 28 is 44, divide by 2, 22. 5 plus negative 13, that's negative 8, divide by 2, negative 4. Now let's go back and double check. Okay, between 16 and 28, does 22 sound like the middle of those 2 points?
Yes.
Okay, how about 5 and negative 13? There's negative 4 in the middle. Yeah.
Yes.
If one of these numbers doesn't show up in between,
It's wrong.
you've done it wrong. Okay?
So basically, when you're doing this, and let's say you get the answer, but it's the wrong answer, if
Go
it
back
doesn't-
and double
if
check
there's
your
a-
work.
If it's not in between 16 or those two
Yeah, if
numbers,
you're,
then
you're
it's
looking
wrong.
for a midpoint and it's not in between, you've done something wrong.
So there's like I understand it has to be in between, but like could it be closer? Like so how 22 is
No,
closer to
it won't be closer. You'll see the same distance. And so that's what some people have been doing too, is if they have it graphed like this, and I know that, hey, this point is here and this point is here, and I'm trying to find the middle,
Schlumberger?
I can actually start going count over,
Oh,
down, count over, down. Or I could say, okay, this is this many in between divided in half, this many in between divided in half, that's where I need to be. There are people in class doing that. That's perfectly valid too.
16. Oh, if you like, because I just counted and it was like 16. So 6 is 22,
So,
and it's 6 22
Here,
plus 6
here this is like
20,
a difference of 12 to go from 16 to 28.
and then that
Divide
would be
that in half,
6.
you add 6 to the 16,
I just did that.
okay? So let's do number 8. Same formula. We have negative 11 plus 47, if I can write it, over 2. And y is 34 plus 0 over 2. Okay, so what is my x? Negative 11 plus 47. You're subtracting 11 from 47, you get 36.
Yeah.
Positive
36
36.
divided by 2.
I was really about to say 18.
And if you have to plug it into your calculator, so be it.
36 divided by 2? Yeah, 18.
34 divided by 2.
16. Oh, 17.
Double check. Double check in your calculators. 18, 17. Is that in the middle? Yep. Yep. Good.
Between which one?
Sorry, this one right here.
I agree with you, Miss Lisa.
18 and 47, and then 7, and then 34 and 0.
So it should be in the middle of these two numbers, middle of those two numbers.
Okay.
Okay? Let's do the last one. Okay? We have -4 plus -22 over 2 and -14 plus 9 over 2.
-18 divided by 2.
Nope.
Negative.
-4. So I have a number line. This is 0. I'm already at -4 and I have to add another -22. That's gonna be even more negative.
So it's 20.
Yeah,
negative 28.
negative.
26.
26.
20. Multiple.
-26
Divided by
divided by 2. This one, -14 plus 9. 5 over 2. Okay. This,
-5?
No, because aren't you adding 9 and that'd be
you were
bad.
right. You were right. -5.
Why is it not? Oh.
Are we okay? So negative and negative is more negative. Negative plus some positive, still negative. So I should have 13, -13, and -2.5. Is it okay to leave it as a fraction?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not gonna have a problem, but -26 over 2 should still be really -13. I shouldn't leave that as a fraction.
Because it's an improper fraction.
Okay. We good on that? Not as bad as we remembered, huh?
Just use the formula.
Okay. Just use the formula and plug it the right way in. Just make sure that x comes before y and every point is xy.
I know how to find the distance.
She's doing good. What's my formula?
It's the thingy, what's it called? A squared plus b squared equals, no, it's x.
It kind
x2
of is.
minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared.
x2 minus x1
Squared plus
y2 minus y1
squared.
squared. And the square root of all of that.
This one?
Don't forget that square root. That's what you guys are doing some of the time.
Just do it.
Seriously, it's just you drop the square root and I'm like, that's not the answer. That's like,
Okay, so this one does not have the order because
yes, it does.
So
Subtract.
43
Subtract. So
minus
Here.
29.
we have, this is x2, y2, x1, y1.
29.
So square root. 29
minus
subtract 43 squared plus -3 subtract -15 squared.
So it'll be 15 squared per person.
So this one here, not 15, -14.
Where'd you get that?
Oh.
Because 29 subtract 43 is
Oh, so-
-14 squared. Now, does it really make a difference in some ways? Not really, because once I square it, it becomes positive anyways.
So.
A
when you
negative
start
times a
doing it, you
negative is
have to-
positive.
So when you start doing it, like you said, 29 minus, so you can't flip that and just do it that way, cause like, I was always used to like, oh, put the bigger number on top and then subtract it by that, because even though it was like 29
Well, let's
minus
work it,
43.
let's see if it works on the next one, okay? -3 subtract -15, that's, when I subtract a negative, it's like adding. So -3 plus 15
12.
is 12.
Negative.
Now, if I try to switch it, and I said negative 15, subtract negative 3, I would end up with a negative 12. And once I square it, it would be okay. I'm just not sure if it works that way permanently. Okay, it's better to be careful. So 14 squared is,
Negative 196.
it's not going to be negative,
196.
right? Because I'm squaring a negative, negative times a negative is a positive. 12 squared, don't forget the square root. Add the two together, take the square root, and I'm left with
340.
Well, square root of 340.
which is,
I don't know.
I thought you didn't have to. I thought you didn't have to.
100.
well, then, honestly, okay,
18.4.
would I accept this? Yes. Could I simplify it further? Yes. So it is what?
18.4.
18.4. Also, this I understand, I can measure. This,
Not so much.
not so much. This is great if I need to continue to do math with it, if I need it to be really exact, if I need it to be real world, I want that. Okay? So let's try this again. This was 10. Let's do 11. Okay, let's set it up. Big square root sign. X minus x squared. Y minus y squared.
Which we've always done it like that?
Yeah.
From where you says 28 minus 21?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I might have just never noticed that.
7. 28 minus 21 is 7.
Minus 1 minus 5.
Negative 6.
So this is 49
Oh, 49.
and 36. Add those together, take the square root.
85.
85. That's not gonna be
Square-
my final answer. I forgot the
Square
square
root
root.
of 85. And then you square root that, which is hold on. 9.21.
9.21. Sounds
But that's
reasonable
if
to
you
me.
simplify, right?
And if I want to know, is that reasonable? Okay, 9 times 9, that's 81. That seems pretty close. It's going to be a little bit more. 10 times 10, too much. Because that would be 100. Okay, I'm always checking to see, is my answer reasonable? Let's do this last one. Okay, square root. 18 minus 0. Minus 10 minus 5. Whew. 18 minus 0 is just 18 squared. Minus 10 minus 5. Minus, that's subtracting a negative is a positive. So minus 10 plus 5
Yes.
minus 5 squared. Okay? What's 18 squared?
60. Oh.
I don't know.
324.
324. 5 minus 5 squared? 25. So 349.
So square. It's positive.
Can I simplify that further?
Mm-hmm.
What do I get?
18.68.
Okay. Looking pretty good. Are we feeling a little bit more confident for our test on Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna look like this. It's just not gonna be this. If that makes sense. Same types of questions, but it's gonna be different in exactly what you're asked or what numbers you're given. Okay? I need to know that you know the process. And you can follow through on this process. Okay, now, this one, word problem. Woo! Where do we even begin?
Figure out what you need. Or
Figure out what you
have.
need. Figure out what I need. Let's see, it says the measure of measure of angle x is 18 more than 3 times the measure of its complement. I need to find the
And,
measure of x.
and then we know that it's
18 more than 3 times
the measure.
the measure of its complement. So where would I focus first? Well, let's assign this to be x. Okay? If this is x, what is its complementary angle going to be then? Do we know what complementary means?
Yeah, it means less than, no, it's 90 degrees.
180.
180.
So
No,
whatever
that's
complement is,
supplementary.
it's 18 more.
180 is supplementary
Complementary means the angles will add up
to 90.
to 90.
Ooh, I
So,
was close.
if this
I
is
was gonna
x,
knock these off.
the complement is going to be 90 minus x. Would we agree?
Yes.
So, let's see, I'm gonna say we need to find x, and we know that it is 18 more than 3 times the measure of 90 minus x. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
So then you.
Yeah, so now all we do is solve for x.
So,
18 plus
So, let's do
21.
this, x, 18, oh, I need to expand this out, okay? X is equal to 18 plus 3 times 90, and 3 times negative x. So I end up with x equals 18 plus 270 minus 3x. Do we see how that follows?
3 times 90.
3 times 90 is 270.
So why didn't you just
Oh.
do
3 times, that's right here, and then 3 times negative x is minus 3x. I have to apply this to both parts.
Why
And
did
then
you
I
do
solve.
18 plus 3 first? Just asking.
So would you do 18?
What do you mean? This 18 is on its own, and the 3 times 90 minus x is
It's
on
on
its
its
own.
own. See, yes, okay, see.
Okay,
Okay.
so here's where we're at.
It's still by itself.
Add 3x. Add 3x. I have 4x equals 18 plus 270. Okay, 4x is equal to 288. X equals 4 into this, 4 into the other. X equals 72. Do I have everything? Have I found everything that I need to find?
Yes.
Okay, in this case, it just asked us what is the measure of x, and that's what we found. Okay? In some cases, you might have to take it a step further to find what's the other angle. What is the other angle? What's the complement? 90 minus x, so that's going to be, the size of the other angle is 90 minus 72, which is 18.
I was gonna say that.
Right? X, 90 minus x. The two of them have to equal 90. If this is 72, this is 18. Okay, let's look at 14. What do I know about these lines?
One is acute.
Okay, I have some acute angles here. I know that this one here is acute. This one here is acute, but they're not the same size. What else do we know? It says find x to make lines A and B perpendicular. So here's my A, here's my B.
They're not perpendicular. Yeah.
If they are perpendicular, we're gonna assume if they are, what does that mean for these two angles?
For which one?
What does that mean for this angle 1 and this
And
angle
it'll have
2.
to equal to 90.
Yes. Because this is a straight line, this angle and this angle are linear pairs. Okay? If they're perpendicular, this means that this has to be 90 as well. And so these two will add up to be 90. So I can say 3x plus 4 plus 4x plus 2 equals 90.
Oh, and you can combine like terms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 3x plus 4x
So 7x
plus
plus 6 equals 90.
6. Where'd you get 6 from?
4 plus 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
Hey, I don't mind the questions because you know that I might cause that problem. When I was doing this last class, for some reason I ended up putting plus 6 equals 96, and I'm like, wait a second, and I had to correct
So you
Correct
just
myself.
added it to.
Subtract 6 from both sides.
I was
Okay,
gonna
so
say
7x equals 84.
Oh my gosh,
Divide by
it's 12.
12.
What?
It's 12.
You just take the two and just add them together. And
Yeah. What we said is take this measure and this measure, add those together, it's going to equal 90.
So x equals 12,
X equals 12.
and you're done.
So where'd you
Yep.
get the
Period.
seven?
Where did I get the 7? 3x from here plus 4x from here.
Because you combine the
So
like terms.
angle 1, this
Oh,
is
so you added
this
it
is
together
angle
and
1.
then broke it up. Basically.
this is angle 2. So those are the two separate angles. We added those together, they're going to equal 90, and then we started combining and combining.
Oh, so you did it all together basically, then broke it up. Then after you did 7x plus 6 equals 90, it's 7. And when I get on the test, I might be like, what is
Okay.
this?
Now, it could be this, maybe they're asking, instead of complementary stuff, what happens if they ask for supplementary?
Then that has to equal 180.
Then it has to equal 180. What if they say that they're vertical angles? What do we know about vertical angles?
It's two non-adjacent angles formed by
Okay.
two intersecting.
But what do I know? If this is angle 1 and angle 2, and I say that angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles, what else do you know about that?
They have the same vertex.
They're going to have the same measure, they're going to be congruent. These are going to equal one another. Does that make sense? So supplementary, I have two angles adding up to 180. If it's a linear pair, the two have to equal 180. If I have vertical angles, those vertical angles equal one another. Complementary, they have to add up to 90. It all makes a difference. Okay, let's look at 15. Scoot this over. Okay, so now we're looking over here. What do I need to do whenever I name an angle?
You have to.
What has to be in the middle if I'm describing an
vertex.
angle? A vertex. Okay? So vertex is the middle of naming an angle. Very important. I can't put the vertex somewhere else, otherwise I'm not naming that angle. Okay, that vertex, that central point where the sides meet, has to be the middle. Name the vertex of angle 3. C. Point C. Here's angle 3. Point C is the vertex. Name the sides of angle 1. Well, I have to find where
Side.
angle 1 is.
So, right.
That's right here. What are our sides?
Alright.
Angle.
Or
Eight.
segment.
Sides. Sides, I'm naming rays or line segments.
So it'll be line segment HG.
Okay, so I could say HG, and I could say that it's a ray. I could say a line segment as well. Ray just means that it continues and it will continue on forever.
Line GC segment.
And I think that's probably better, again, if we say ray, because we can see at the ends that they're continuing. Would I accept, you know, this actually, even better, like I would accept the HG. I like GH even better because it describes the direction.
Did you say HGC?
HG would be acceptable, CG would be acceptable, but I prefer starting at the vertex because it indicates what direction these are going. Okay, what's another name for angle 6? Well, angle 6 is over here. It includes this point and this point, this point. How else can I name 6?
Can you say line FE?
No. I'm looking for another name for that
So
angle.
you could say angle CFE.
Wait, what do you mean like another name? Like another angle name?
Yes,
Oh.
it's angle 6. That's a name for the angle, but we can also describe it using CFE, EFC. Is there any others? No, that's really it. Name a pair of angles that share exactly one point. They're only going to share the vertex.
Oh,
Is it
GCF and ACB. They share a vertex.
Okay, you said GCF and what was the other one?
ACB.
ACD?
B.
B. Okay, so she described this one and this one. Does that share exactly one point? Yes. GCF, ACB, those two share exactly one point. Is that the only option? Definitely not. There are others. But in this case, really the only choices are the vertex is always gonna have to be C.
So
Okay.
DCF and ACB could have been one.
C, you said C what?
DCF
Oh, DCF, yeah,
and ACB.
yep, agree. Could it be this, where I go H, G, C, and C, G, F? Are these two angles 1 and 2, are those?
Yes.
No, no, they share more than one point.
What other point do we share?
Everything along this line.
Yeah, if you extend the line, they'll share C.
They're just gonna keep sharing all the way up.
They'll share B.
They have to share only the vertex. Okay. Looking good. You guys are really looking good.
Is 1.6 and 1.7 gonna be on this test tomorrow?
Yes. 2 days from now.
Thursday, yeah.
Okay. The formulas are gonna be the same right here. I think you guys are a lot more confident on that than you were on everything up through 1.5. Okay. Angle 1 and angle 2. Which of the following statements are true? A, B, C, D. Now think about what we have. We have 2 straight lines that intersect.
D.
I agree. I think
All of the above.
Why do you say all of the above?
I have a question.
I was gonna press something on this.
What does that equal sign mean? The correct
Means congruent. You see it at the bottom of your sheet, the formula sheet. Did I not give you one on your table? Thought I had.
It's all of the above.
Why?
Because A is saying angle 2 is congruent to angle 4.
How do we know that 2 and 4 are congruent? How do we know this?
I guess I just assumed.
I'm not
Because
gonna
they're on
say
the
you're
same
wrong,
line.
I just wanna say
Is that
what,
on the same line? Wait, no, that's wrong. Don't listen to me. I was wrong.
they're vertical angles, well, actually, hey, wait, they're vertical angles.
Oh,
That
that's
means they're
different.
congruent. Okay, angle 2 is a right angle.
Do we know that for sure?
Yes.
Why?
Well, it's assumed.
Because if we got a protractor.
If you measured, maybe. Well, think about this.
Well,
1 and 2, do 1 and 2 form a horizontal line? Okay. And do 1 and 4 form a horizontal line?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm seeing a linear pair. Linear pair, and yet this and this are congruent. I know that 1 and 2, let me put that a little further out. This is congruent with this. In order for those two to be congruent and the two of them to form a straight line, what does that mean?
They have to be
They
90
each
degrees.
have to be 90 degrees.
Exactly.
So 2 right angle, yes. L perpendicular, yes.
I was doing proselytization. I was taking from what I know, like that's why I said B is true. I was gonna say C is true.
Okay? And then all that's left, as far as review go, is looking at the stuff from our shapes, which is where we are more comfortable. Finding perimeters and finding names of bases, surface area, volume. That I think is part of our comfort zone.
Are we gonna continue reviewing tomorrow?